Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my media channel. Today we're going to be looking at a flip through of my Clean It Up, Use It Up journal, which is a small A5 dilutions journal. And again, like my big journal, I've just covered it with some printables from Little Raven ink because it just makes me happy every time I pick it up. So I use this journal by cleaning off extra paint I've got in it, or stencils or stamps. Anything that I've got floating around, I just chuck into this journal. So I finished the first half of it and I thought I'd share it with you today. So this is the first page I did, and I started it on the 5th of June, 5th of May, 30th of May, sorry, can't read my own writing. And yeah, so I did this page with texture paste, sculpt texture paste, new stencil. So I was trying out some new stencils and stamps on this page, and some spray inks, which I don't tend to use very often. In this page, I was practicing some paper cutting. So I did one in this page before I started my new journal. Again, this I tend to use a bit of practice or a planning journal as well. So if I want to try something out that I'm not 100% sure how it's going to go, I try it out in this one because I really don't care if it's a disaster in this one, whereas I usually don't care in the other ones, but I'm a bit more precious about my bigger journals. And this is an idea of the planning. So this is the plan I've got for my larger journal for the rainbow cut. So I sort of drew out what I dreamt about this project. So when I woke up next morning, I sort of got my pens and drew out what I sort of dreamt about the different layers, and then translated this plan into the paper cuts in the other journal. This is just a background where I was using some foils and stuck some tissue paper over the top. So that's one of the Jane Davenport tissues. This is a artist on Instagram called Maria Kodo, I think, who uses vintage photos and then just use paint markers over the top. I love this style, so I had a go at replicating that style in my journal. This was me practicing again for this page if I could hand cut text, and I really liked how it worked out. And in the background, the leftover paint I had from painting the pages in my larger journal went in the background there, and I just glued them together. It's another go at doing the same artist style, again just over a background that of foils and leftover paints, and you can see the foils here as well. I was practicing around seeing if I could foil in my journal using things like glue sticks or gel medium, and they did work, which I was quite surprised about. This was just, again, leftover paint. I just put it in patterns. There's stencil over the top. I tend to practice try out my new stencils as well in here. These are some hand cut stamps that I made, and I had a go at popping them in here and making a page, and I really like that it's just black and white with the dilutions cut over the top. This is another test page for my stamps. This page I had, again, leftover paint in the circles. I just used my blender brush to put them down and then coloured in the background. So you can see things like the paint in the background where I've just painted over the top, but it gives it a lovely tonal image to it. These collage pieces were from Mischief Circus, I think. So you just buy some collage sheets through them, and they're downloadable, which is fantastic. And these are printables from Little Raven ink. Again, I have a lot of her printables, so I tend to chuck them in. If I've got a really busy background but I want to have a focal image in it, I tend to do a collage over the top, so I've got something that pops out from the background. This is a page done with printables from James Luke Burke Creative when he was doing his Patreon playtest. I just loved this image, and I loved how it all worked together. And the colours on this page are not me, really. I'm not really a pinky person, but I just love how this page came together. This was playing with the new collage papers from Dina Wakley, or the old new collage papers, and some of her new stamps I had on a page. This picture here is one from James Luke Burke Creative. He had a competition where he gave an image and you had to do something with it. Now it's glossy and a bit hard to see because it's actually done on a piece of contact. I did an image transfer with it and then tried to put some alcohol inks in the back. It didn't particularly work very well, so I just stuck it into my journal, but I quite like how it looked. And you can see some of the paints coming through on the translucent bits behind. This is again just a page where I've stuck a Jane Davenport. This is one of her palette pages. It's got a funny texture on it, which is why our face is a little bit patchy, because it's a kind of waxed surface, so sometimes the mediums come off. I was also playing with some of the paint markers I made using Flow Medium to do her hair. This is another image of this one. That's what it originally looked like, and I've just gone over with the Stabilo oil pencil and some of my watercolors just to color it in. This is a piece I ended up using as my image transfer, or sorry, I scanned this piece in and printed it out on acetate to make my assemblage box. And then I really like this, so I used the poem "She Walks in Beauty like the night" and wrote that down here. Here I was inspired by, again, Little Raven Ink. She has a fabulous video on her YouTube channel called Whimsy Warriors. So I wanted to make my own Whimsy Warrior for my journal page. And this is practicing with some new stamps and some chalk markers that I bought. So I just had swatched those on the page and then stamped over the top of them. This page was a clean off page, and it was inspired by Piglet Whispers, which again runs a fabulous YouTube channel. She made these lovely flowers, so I thought I'd have a go at making those out of collage papers and old gel prints as well. This page, I got this new mixed media embossing powders, and I wanted to see if I could stencil with them and use them in a journal. So I stenciled with Versamark ink pad and laid them down, and it worked pretty well. So then I actually went back over once the first layer had cooled and re-stenciled and added more. So I've actually got two layers, two different colours of embossing powder on here layered over each other, which I really love the effect of, and then just finishing it off. And this is an extra piece I painted in a Dina Wakely class in August, so it's been hanging around a while. This was, the pink in the background was just using up paint, and I journaled over it, but it's quite personal journaling, so then I stenciled over the top. This page, I had a whole heap of sort of a really dark red colour in the background, and it just wasn't working. It was a really old paint, which had probably gone off a little bit, and it was a high gloss acrylic, which I don't use very much of these days, and it was really bugging me, so I ended up just covering it over with all the red printables I could find from Little Raven Ink. And then just had that little bit of the page peeking out at the end. These two pages have been sitting in my journal for a while, and I've only just really finished them. I didn't really know what to do with them, so this one I just stuck something over the top and journaled over. This one had the beautiful texture paste, but it's all in this orange, and it just looked really odd. So I decided to frame this off with an offcut that I had, and then I painted over the background. I think I painted over gold first, and then I painted over black. It's been painted lots and lots, this page, because it never quite worked out. Rubbed some wax over the top just to highlight the birds again. I quite like how it ended up in the end. Still not quite right up here, but it is what it is. This page I love, and again it's just offcut leftovers of texture paste that I had, so just I'd done it on another project, squeezed it off in here. These bits down the bottom, which I actually really love, is where I was cleaning off my palette knife. And then I just chucked some paint in the background and collaged over the top. So I don't tend to stick extra artwork on top of pages. I tend to actually just do it all on the page, but I actually quite like, I made some extra ACTs and I stuck them in here. This page again was another page that was really bugging me. It had some texture paste. I'd put some gold stars on here, and then I'd painted it black, which I didn't mind. The texture paste, I'd been a bit too heavy-handed, so it squeezed out over the edges. And then I stuck in this image of Audrey Hepburn, which was a beautiful shaped image, but it just didn't look right, and I had no idea what to do with it next. And on another page, I cut out a quote from a sticker paper, and I had this beautiful background left over, so I just chucked that in the background and added the extra in. I actually quite like how it looks now. You sort of got that, you know, vintage and something peeping through from the background. Totally odd, but it's appealing to me more than it did. This page, on the other hand, I really love. Again, it's a printable from Little Raven Ink. The washi tape here, these are printables from Inky Quill. The paper in the background, the star paper, was from Flow magazine, and I don't know if you can pick it up in the video. You can kind of see that green shimmer and the blue. I bought some, what's it called? Star colours from Stamperia. So I just wanted to try them out. And this is the darkest page I had in my journal that didn't have much on it, so I smeared them on the background. So this journal is used a lot for just testing and swatching things. I'm not an organised swatcher with, you know, colours and names and titles and stuff. I just like to try it out on the page and see what happens. This is a secret project that you haven't seen in my journal. This is a video that I put up recently. I love this page. This again was a page that I used lots and lots for cleanups, and if you follow my channel you would have seen this page used a lot recently with me just chucking in extra paint and so on, and this is how the final page came up. So it's got those collage tissue words from the pink lady with the hair, and leftover paint from that project. The blue came from that project. There's paint swatches when I got all my lovely paint markers for Christmas. I swatched them all out on the page here, so you can kind of see a few of those swatch marks from behind here. I was trying out some brush lettering on this page, so it's a really eclectic page, but it all tied together in the end. This is a page I was playing with after watching Creative Jumpstart, which is an online class that runs in January every year, and it was again using embossing powders in my journal. It was also using some stone pastes that again I bought and wanted to have a go at. So all the different stone pastes that came in the pack I tried on this page just to get that extra texture, and I really loved it, but I wanted to add some colour to it. So I then thought, well, while it's still wet, I'll sprinkle in embossing powder and have a go at doing that and draw over the top, add some extra waxes and some collage as well. So I really loved how that came out, and I loved the texture, even so much that by putting the embossing powder over the top, and because it was in sort of wet medium anyway, I was still able to indent into it and give an impression. This was me cleaning off my brayer and then just stenciling over the top. Again, I love the colour combination on this page. It really appeals to me. And this is a page you can again see cleaning off the bird stencil with texture paste on it in the background. Leftover sticker paper, which I then painted over to blend in, paint marks with leftover paint, and these are the quote from this page, cut out from this page, and I just stuck it on here. I don't want to do anything more to that page because I love the colours on it. I thought, oh, I can play around with it and do lots and lots, but I decided, which is very unlike me, to actually just leave it simple. So I thought the quote worked there. Again, I had these really strong dark colours in the background, some stenciling that I painted over, and I was going through the printables again from Little Raven Ink, and she had these two faces that matched the colours on this page, so that's the only reason I chose those faces, and then just made up the bodies. This one was from another one. I don't do planning, so I don't need days of the week, so I just cut that up and use that as a body. And this one's using washi tape, again sort of blending in with the colours on that page. This was a Halloween page I did because I had these oranges in the background, and it's just using some tissue papers, stenciling, just all sorts of stuff chucked on here, and some chalk markers over the top, which haven't lasted as well as I thought they would, but it works still. It sort of gives that soft edge to it. So that's my cleaner up journal so far. So I'm really pleased that I've been able to use the cleaner up pages I have so far, and I've already got some started in here ready to go to do something else. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else ends up in this journal. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know below if you've got your own cleaner up journal and what you do in it, and how your pages work out. And until next time, see you later. Bye.